Hey guys, you're back. Good to see you here at the Red Barn, where in this episode I make a ton of progress on our Ferrari swapped 914, including what in the world are all those little dots down there? Well, you're just gonna have to watch the episode and find out. But before we get to that, hey, a quick PSA for animal rescue, and in particular for Petaluma Pet Pals, the rescue that supports Morty's Used Book Nook and Cat Adoption Lounge here in Petaluma. That's a rescue that we help out with too. The kitty stuff this time is a little different. We just took on a medical rescue, and it's a little bit tough to watch, but I'll give you a spoiler alert right now. Everything is going really well for him, so please watch to the end. But the request I've got is if there's anything you can do to support your local animal rescue, whether that's donate time, money, food, litter, toys, whatever, it's so greatly appreciated. In the example of our little guy, he had a very expensive surgery, and those costs are borne by the rescue. So anything that you can do to help out would be greatly appreciated. I'm going to put a link in the description, and there's also information about that link at the end of the video for how you can donate to Petaluma Pet Pals if that's something you're interested in. But in the meantime, let's get back to the build, and I hope you enjoy. You know, so people wonder why I don't get my cars done sooner. Well, you guys remember the factory 914.6. The proud owner, Michael, and his twin brother, Bobby, were back because you think I've got it bad. He didn't like the angle of his exhaust tip. So here's a couple pictures of the in process. So first I whipped up a transition from 2 3/4 to 2 1/4 by using the handy dandy dimple die and just making a dimple in some 16 gauge and then reducing the outside of it to 2 3/4. And it just so happened that the inside diameter of that opening was already 2 1/4. So that was a total cool save, and it made this really tidy transition. And then the stars aligned, and I happened to have a piece of 2 1/4 inch tube left over from another project with the right radius, so that with the miter worked out, I could get the exact angle coming off the muffler to give Michael the down and out location passing through that valance that he was looking for. Here's the after of it now points down and out the way a factory 6 is supposed to. So, great seeing you guys. Always a pleasure to help out with a beautiful car like that. And we'll see y'all next time. Thank you, guys. Okay, here we go. The laptop is here and set up, and I am in scan mode in the engine compartment. So I got my little scanning dots, and these just kind of go on wherever the hell you put them. All right, now you can see one of the giveaways, as I'm starting to understand, is if it doesn't show these crosshatches from in blue laser mode, then it's not seeing enough stuff. So if I get over here, you can see as soon as it doesn't see, I think it's like 4 markers they're saying, but you can see as I move it out of marker range, it just, the lines disappear and it starts saying I can't see anything. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna start scanning this area. All right, now you can see that with the dots, I think you can see the computer. Well, for starters, you can see the blue lines are showing up. So I'm gonna go ahead and start this scan. I'm doing some of this, I'm just trying to play around for fun to see, you know, to learn. Like I'm trying to get down into that engine cradle mount, you know, and like I say, if it can see markers, it can pick up areas where, you know, that aren't really even in target range, if you will. So that's working pretty good. Let me see if I can get the underside of my electrical bulkhead connectors. But in general, I'm looking like I've got everything I need for my battery box. Yeah, and I think that's gonna do it. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop the scan. So I'm gonna go ahead now and process this thing. And this is gonna take a second, so I'll come back once it's done. And after processing that scan, here is the final mesh file that I'll use to bring into Fusion. And as I mentioned, you can see that if, as I was aiming down into that area behind the cradle mount, it picks it up perfectly. I'm going to end up having to redo this because I didn't get high enough on this firewall. And you'll see when I get into Fusion that I want to be able to predict exactly where the interference point will be as I'm lifting the cover off the battery box. And so I'm going to need to go back and redo this. But I'm happy to practice and play and learn at this point. So, here it is, all ready to go into Fusion. And when I pop into Fusion, you can see the other step I took is I had modeled the battery tray, as you saw in the last episode, and I've now brought that into this file where I can now start playing with it and position it. So if I want to, move it around, I can just, start playing with where I want to place it and all that good stuff. And you can see now this is all sized appropriately, and you can see that with the battery in here, I'm not going to be able to push it farther down in here. It's going to run into the firewall. So I need to get more of this area up above here to be able to work out where this tray can sit. And then once that's done, I'll be able to build the bracket that runs from the battery tray down onto this part of the longitudinal or wherever else I decide I need that support bracket to be. But there we go. So I'm really happy with my progress. No, I'm not efficient, but it's really interesting, and it's going to be super powerful once I become more efficient at doing all this stuff. But there we go. Hey, welcome to what I hope is not a recurring episode of Genius or Hack. So this is the Ferrari 360 transmission oil filter. And you can see that what it does is it slides into an opening in the case, and it's got that little securing tab right there. I went online, watched videos of how they take them out, and so you start prying on that tab, and of course what happens is it snaps off, leaving you no way to grab. What I'm starting to get a picture of is if that seals that little thing at the end, this body is probably stuck pretty good to the inside of the transmission. So here we are, genius or hack. So I made a tool. This is a nut on the end of this thing, which is the same thread pitch as a slide hammer that Martin has. Those of you that don't know who Martin is, you should watch all these episodes leading up to this one, and you'll meet Martin a couple times. He's my shop helper, overall good guy and a great friend. And anyway, he has a slide hammer, and I thought, okay, maybe I can make something to pull that thing out, but what am I going to do to grab it? And it just so happens that a 3/8 NPT tap goes in that hole and actually makes some threads. Here we go. I have to admit, I didn't know if this was going to work at all until I got the slide hammer, or if I was going to need the slide hammer. But what I ended up doing was just using this as a grippy grip, and now you know why I'm saying genius or hack. I'm shoving an MPT tap into a plastic fitting into a Ferrari transaxle. Oh, whoa, out comes. Oh, looks like there might be some fluid still in there. Let me get a container. I think I've answered my question. This is hack. That didn't work too well. I just assumed this thing had no fluid in it, but I assumed wrong. Anyway, there is what comes out. And you can see, I think they learned a little bit about the design. That seal has to be pulled all the way out that distance, and look in the later models, they move the seal to the end, closer to the end, so maybe that doesn't require as much movement of this piece before it comes right out. So I'll say that's better. So I ask you again, genius or hack? I think maybe a little of both. With the flywheel fasteners put on there. The flywheel, by the way, it's got the trigger wheel back here that picks up the cam position or the crank position sensor. And that means the flywheel can only go on one way. And so there's one weird offset bolt that causes it to only be able to be put on one way. So once that's all done, and now I need to torque these things. So I had to make a tool. And you see guys online, they'll wedge a screwdriver in here and do that sort of a thing. But I thought I could come up with something better. So, hearkening back to my days as the Volkswagen mechanic, I worked in, rebuilt Volkswagens as a little side job when I was a young man, working out of the garage. And so I rummaged through my parts and I found the old Volkswagen flywheel lock and a piece of scrap and worked out a way where, with a couple of the right size spacers, this thing sits right down in there and grabs onto the trigger wheel, notches, and I can lock down the flywheel and get these bolts torqued up, and we'll be all set. So it's making tools time in this episode, I guess. All right, well, that was nice and uneventful. I was worried that the motor might rock, but I was able to hold it in place and get the torque done. All right, well, that worked. This lock worked great up to 67 pound-feet. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I have to torque the front pulley. This guy, I got to torque this guy to 150 pound-feet. So that'll be interesting to see. I'll probably need some help holding the motor, keep it from rocking while I'm putting that kind of force into that front one. But now I can go ahead and mount the clutch and pressure plate. All right, then I just went around, and there are 3 sets of 5. One here, one here, one here, of just little, M6 screws, socket head bolts rather, and a really nice, super solid, all steel Ferrari clutch alignment tool from Hill Engineering. And I mean, that thing has no slop in it like some of those plastic ones, so this is really nice. So there's the flywheel on and torqued with blue Loctite. These guys are all done and torqued. And by the way, they balance these at the factory when they make them. And I've talked to a couple of different sources, and they say you just put them on. You don't have to worry about rebalancing anything. It just goes on. And now, the ring gear. And interestingly, this is the upgraded ring gear. Hard to believe, but they used to make these with only 3 fastening screws. And that is a known failure point. So this thing now goes on. And we are all set with the drivetrain. Well, once I get the rest of the parts that I'm waiting for there. But we'll be all set to have this guy made it back up to the trans. So, yay. New clutch, reconditioned flywheel. And I just realized that my big torque wrench maxes out at 150 pound-feet, so I don't want to push it all the way to its limit and expect that it's as accurate there as it might otherwise be. It's it's just a Harbor Freight torque wrench. So I've gotten Martin running an errand to check his torque wrench to see if it's a better fit. So that's going to have to wait till next episode. But again, I appreciate you guys watching. Like, share, subscribe. We got the kitties coming up. Our new rescue kitty. I hope you watch. I hope you can do something to help your local animal rescue or Petaluma Pet Pals in the case of the people that we support. And as always, like I said, greatly appreciate it. Like, share, subscribe, and everybody take care. Till next time. Bye-bye. We got a call from the rescue and said, hey, can you guys take on a medical rescue? So this is our first medical rescue, and this little guy needs all the good wishes we can get for him. There he is. There's the little man. Hi, buddy. Oh, yes, he's a little peep. This guy, we're still working out a name for him, and this is hard to watch. This little guy. Not anymore. This little guy had a tumor. Hey, you. Hey, little buddy. Hi. And so just yesterday morning, he was in for surgery, and he came through surgery like a champ. And his one remaining eye is a little wonky, only because he's got an upper respiratory infection that is causing that inner eyelid to be a little bit out from where it should be. So he is wildly underweight for his age. He's probably, what, a pound underweight?
Yes.
Yeah, he's maybe half the size he should be at this age, they think.
Yes.
So this guy's got he's got a super duper big time will to live. And we are doing everything we can for him, the little guy. He's a love bug. He purrs as soon as you start petting him.
And he's a big talker.
And he's a loud boy, but he loves the snuggle. And so this is going to be a bit different from us with all the cute stuff that we've had in the past. We're going to work real hard to make sure this guy gets cute as fast as possible. So we have high hopes for him, but I wanted to introduce you to him, and we'll keep you updated as he makes progress. All right, ladies and gentlemen, introducing Wazo. It is now day 4 after surgery, and this little guy has gained a bunch of weight, and he's found his energy, and he is zipping around like a maniac. He's the Wazo, named after Mike Wazowski from Monsters, Inc., because, of course, one eye. Oh, listen to this. He just wants to be with people. He is just a love. Look at that face. And notice his eye. His third eyelid is almost all the way retracted. He's gotten over his upper respiratory. And he is just a love. Hi, buddy. Hello, buddy. Oh, look at the face. Yeah, and he's gained many, many ounces. He used to feel like, literally, like a bag of bones. And he has put on some serious meat in just a couple days. So he is doing really, really well. So thanks for all your good wishes. All right, we brought the little maniac in the house, and we're letting him play around. Hey, Waz, what's up, buddy? He loves this. He loves chasing the remote. Oh, he's distracted by coasters and everything else. He is nothing but a ball of energy at this point. He seems to be doing just fine, but look at him go compared to what he looked like when he got here. And we're keeping a close eye on him, keeping away from hard objects and things like that. That's why he's in a soft pop-up now. But boy, oh boy, he is doing just great. It's the Waz man. Look at him go. He's a crazy kitty. Oh, coming in for he's going for the big move. Wah. It's the Wozniak.